the nearest turkey. Hello and welcome to Rhineland Cutlery. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk you through the classic collection or professional collection you see here on our table. We'll start at the beginning, shall we, with the steak knives down here at the front. You have 8 steak knives with this collection. The steak knives, incidentally, pop off. And with the extra bamboo stand, you can put them on the barbecue, by the buffet table, even on the picnic table. A beautiful set of steak knives. No matter how large or small your dinner party will be, you'll always have a steak knife. We start now at the back right hand side of the collection here, where you'll find the cheese knife. The 5-inch cheese knife, serrated on both sides. The reason the serrated knife is serrated on both sides is it so that when you cut down through the cheese, it cuts in a dead straight line. No more serrated knives that pull to one side. The cheese knife. The next knife in the collection is another serrated knife. This time it's the 8-inch bread knife. The 8-inch bread knife, serrated both sides, remember, so it cuts straight down through the bread. No more pulling to one side. The bread knife. The next knife we find is the 9-inch carving knife. When used with its partner, the fork is perfect for that Thanksgiving Day turkey. Plunge the fork into the meat and then just simply slide back. A 9-inch blade is really useful when you have those larger cuts of meat. For example, the Thanksgiving Day turkey. The carving set. Now over here we have the 7-inch filleting knife, or fillet knife if you prefer. A great knife, super sharp, as indeed are all our beautiful knives. Flexible. The reason for the flex, very useful for example, when you want to fillet a piece of fish, or even in this case, a piece of tomato. The fillet knife. Back here we have the 6-inch Santoku knife. One of our most popular selling knives as an individual piece. Super sharp, big enough, yet small enough. Ideal for vegetable work and for meat work. However, we do have an 8-inch Santoku knife, which is very popular, particularly with our male customers. A little bit bigger, balances perfectly. Now this knife is a very versatile knife with a slightly wider blade. Very useful, very sharp as we know already. That wider blade comes in use, as you'll see later, with the cleaver, but with the Santoku you can start to get the habit of chopping. Quite an easy thing to learn to do over a period of time. Now the Santoku blade has a slight curve to it. Very useful when you want to do the rock chop for vegetables, herbs, or should I say herbs, and so on. The wide blade, very useful in addition for crushing garlic and for scooping things up. Super sharp. The thing I like most of all about this Santoku knife, this one in particular, it's not too big and it's not too small. Now then, we talked about chopping just now with the Santoku. Let's look at the cleaver. A knife that arguably is probably the most useful knife in the kitchen. In fact, when I was trained how to use a knife, they handed me the cleaver and they said, there we go, Stephen, there's your vegetable knife. Now I was somewhat confused at the time, but now it makes absolute sense to me. When you're not super confident with a knife, this in actual fact is actually the safest knife in the kitchen. Once your knuckles are on that blade, you've got 4.5 inches to go up before you even run the risk of hurting yourself on the way down again. So, when you're teaching yourself how to chop, you know that so long as your knuckle is on that blade, your fingers here are protected. So you can teach yourself to chop just as before with the Santoku. Again, very useful for the rock chop for herbs and spices, crushing garlic and scooping things up. The 7-inch Asian Cleaver. Also tucked back here is one of our most popular knives, the paring knife. A very useful knife. In actual fact, it's the knife that all chefs ask for almost first of all. Very useful for that intricate work with vegetables and for peeling potatoes, tomatoes and any other vegetable that you need to peel. The paring knife. The last thing you'll see here within the classic collection is our honing steel. Now the honing steel is a skill in itself, but it's not as hard as you might think to teach yourself how to keep your knife super sharp by using the honing steel. Now you'll see me do it this way. Not necessarily the best way to learn to hone the knife. What I normally suggest when you're still beginning is to place the honing steel on your board, keep the angle at approximately 20 degrees as you can see here, and simply pull back once and do the same in the reverse. You do that 3 times, once every 2 or 3 months, and these knives will never let you down. They all fit perfectly and beautifully in the classic collection bamboo block here. A perfect addition to anyone's home and kitchen, and I'm sure you're going to thoroughly enjoy them. Thank you very much for your time.